Fashion PR is easily one of the more misunderstood areas of the industry, so let's talk about it. Hey everyone, my name is AK Brown, the Fashion Connector, and I am here to make fashion make sense. Meaning, I'm here to make fashion more accessible and more understandable, especially for those that look like me. So specifically, when I talk about fashion being more accessible and being more understandable, I first really talk about fashion media. So that's going to be the journalism, magazines, PR, and overall media equity. Fashion education, y'all know I was a fashion professor and I'm actually going back for my doctorate, and my thesis is going to explore the disparities within fashion education and overall just how to get into fashion, how to get your first job in fashion, start a business in fashion. I've lived many lives in this industry and have had my hand in so many things. Everything from being a product developer to being a stylist to owning a nonprofit. I've done a lot, and I feel like because I've paved my own way, carved out my own journey, really created a lot of the opportunities that I've been blessed with, I can pass on that knowledge and really do my job of not making the fashion industry so gate-kept. Now, diving into fashion PR, really just PR overall, but obviously my space is fashion. So I'm responsible for y'all in the fashion industry. However, this very much relates to anybody that is trying to gain visibility either for themselves or for their client. This is all the same information, honestly. So for me, I've actually been doing my own outreach, public relations since 2020. I went for my master's in communications with an emphasis in PR. I had my own boutique PR firm at the time, and my idea was I wanted to be like the Black Kelly Catrone of St. Louis. Now, let me say this. We are a Kelly Catrone fan stan account. I don't care what nobody got to say about her. I love that lady down, and she don't take no shit, and don't nobody question her. And that's another conversation for something else, but we love Kelly over here. That's all I gotta say. After I had a couple of clients, I actually let them all go so I can use myself as a case study. I have been featured in any type of outlet you can think of in St. Louis: radio, TV, magazine, newspaper. I've been quoted or featured in the likes of Teen Vogue, Bustle, Refinery 29. So now translated into the work I do now, my 9 to 5, I'm a publicist more so in the educational sector. I am the publicist for St. Louis Fashion Week. I own a fashion media house that owns a fashion magazine only for the Black fashion community advisor, where I am the fashion director. So I say that to say not to gloat, but more so to make sure that y'all understand my expertise and what I'm getting ready to say. So when we talk about fashion PR, I actually want to talk about what y'all think it is or only is, because most of it is either the act of carrying out the strategy or a lot of times overlaps with marketing activities, but it's not the PR itself, if that makes sense. For example, simply sending shit to your favorite influencer, pitching what we call it, or sending emails to journalists and editors, hoping that they feature you in an article or in a publication, events, parties, activations. That's not PR itself. That's the visible part of what PR is. That is the act of carrying out part of the PR strategy. And again, some of that actually overlaps with marketing activities. So what is fashion PR then? Well, there's a lot of things that encompass fashion PR. First is going to be brand positioning, how your brand is perceived in the marketplace, especially by your customers, your clients, and your target audience. And I have talked about this so many times. Y'all be worrying about PR when you don't even know who the hell your target audience is. You don't know who the hell is supposed to be buying your products, participating in your services, or just paying attention to who you are, but you want PR. None of that makes sense. You got to start with actually figuring out who your brand is and where it's supposed to be in the market before we try to get it visibility or get it seen by those clients. PR also goes into, once you've done your job of really honing in on the business and brand foundational things, a good media strategy. So y'all know my key phrase, and if you don't, I'm saying it here. Vogue is not the end all be all. And what I mean by that is there are so many other media outlets within the fashion sphere, and your audience most likely is not consuming Vogue. Everyone wants a Vogue mention, a Vogue feature, which I get and I understand. But if your audience is not consuming, reading, or engaging in the content of Vogue, none of that shit actually makes fucking sense then, right? You actually have to really understand the type of media that your audience is consuming, so then you can come up with a media strategy on where you're going to pitch yourself to. Like, that's why I keep saying you gotta know who your target audience is first before we even decide on where to start pitching your brand to. Like, it all is connected. PR is absolutely relationship building and building rapport with the journalists, with editors, with other publicists. I think because of the relationship I have with some editors and publicists in St. Louis is the reason why I probably had as many stories ran on me as I've had, no matter kind of where I jump to, and just some of the favors that have been extended to me. That kind of also goes into PR is absolutely a long game. Staying on the radar of some of these journalists and other editors and other publicists in order for you to stick out in their mind when they are thinking of a story to run and who we should put up for said story. And I think the most important piece of this is PR is earned over time. It's not controlled, and it's not to be bought. What I mean by it's earned, you don't pay for earned media. You don't pay for those placements. And if you are paying for those placements, that's a red ass flag. I'm actually going to talk about in another video red flags that I have as a publicist and red flags that I have as a journalist. PR is earned. It's earned media. Earned, you know what earned means, okay? And it's not controlled. And so what I mean by that is, yes, you are supposed to be able to control your own narrative, but you cannot control nor dictate if someone writes about you, when someone writes about you. That's not anything that is up to you. And if you're playing the long game, and again, building those relationships and keeping good rapport with the other publicists, journalists, editors, and anybody within the space of PR, then they're going to give you a heads up. They're going to make sure that the timing is in the best interest of you. They're going to make sure that the words and the narrative are within the best interest of you. But at the end of the day, you can't control that, and you can't boss anybody around or dictate how shit comes out. And I want to make sure that I make that shit absolutely very clear. Now, I think the biggest question too, and I get this all the time, who actually needs fashion PR? All y'all don't goddamn need PR. Okay, I've said this. I have said this, and I'm going to double down on this channel and in this content series. All of y'all don't need PR. So I absolutely think the emerging needs some type of visibility, but they have to be ready for it. And I'm going to talk about that. So if you're an emerging designer or an emerging brand that's ready for PR, then yes, you absolutely need it. I also think personal brands, entrepreneurs, public figures that are trying to establish some type of thought leadership, authority, and credibility within their space absolutely need some type of PR or visibility. If you're a brand that hasn't even taken the time out to figure out your identity as a business or a brand, there's absolutely no reason you need to be thinking about PR. Do not waste your time. Definitely don't waste a publicist's time. You need to go back to the foundational steps of brand building and business building. Can't be skipping steps. Now, this is a big one. If you are a brand that is not operationally ready to receive the influx of potential new customers based on these PR efforts and activities. So for example, you want to be featured on the news. Cool. You want to be featured in your favorite magazine. Amazing. If that was to happen, are you able to handle the potential new business that you're going to get? So new orders, new clients. If you're not able to handle that, what's going to happen is You're going to get backlogged. You're not going to be able to get orders out on time. You're not going to be able to provide the A+ quality customer service. And then your customers are going to talk. You already know they talk shit and are quick to talk shit on Threads, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook. And then all of that positive earned media that you just got, no one's going to give a fuck about that, because now we see all this negative media, this negative PR. You get what I'm saying? So if you are not even operationally ready to handle that, you don't need to be fucking worried about PR. You need to make sure that you're worrying about scaling, so that way you can be able to handle any new business that you get. And any brand that is looking for like quick sales should not be worrying about PR right now. PR is not a sales funnel. It should not be treated as a sales funnel or a sales channel. And you're gonna be pissed the fuck off. If I keep telling y'all that PR is a long game, you're not gonna make quick sales. So you're gonna waste money if you're going to retain a publicist. Even if you're doing your own PR and maybe paying a little bit for some of these platforms, it's still a waste of time. And time is money. Time is energy, time is resources that you could have allocated to other things within your business. So if you're looking for quick sales, that's not what PR is meant to do. So I'm gonna leave y'all with this, so y'all can really kind of get a sense of what fashion PR is. I want y'all to stop getting confused PR, advertising, and marketing. I like to actually say that they are sister cousins. Do any of y'all have sister cousins? Because I do. They work hand in hand together. They help each other out, but they each have their own personalities, own characteristics about themselves, and are responsible for different things. And that is what PR, marketing, and advertising are. And I'll explain that probably in a future video, but I really want y'all to ponder on that to really understand that, because people get the activities and the goals of marketing and advertising confused with what PR is supposed to do for you. With that being said, PR does not have a guaranteed ROI. And if there's a publicist that is guaranteeing you a placement of some sort, fucking run. Red flag, get your money back, get your retainer back. A publicist is not supposed to guarantee that. It doesn't matter what type of relationship that they have with any journalists, editors. They can be the best friend of someone, okay? But they cannot control being able to get you in a publication. I own my own fucking magazine, and half the time I don't even like guaranteeing that, because it depends on if the brand makes sense, timing, all of that shit. Like, there's so much that goes into placement in a magazine or an article. So if anybody is guaranteeing an ROI on PR, run. Furthermore, if you're looking more so for an ROI, you probably want to invest into marketing and advertising over PR. So I really hope this video just brought to light a little bit more into what fashion PR really is. Maybe answer some questions that you've had, help with maybe some confusion, something. But if there was something I didn't answer, feel free, drop a question in the comments. I'm here to help however I can. Now, some videos I have coming up that y'all are going to enjoy. We have brands that I feel like have really mastered their PR strategy. My red flags, as I told y'all, as a publicist and as an editor, and tools that you can use for your own PR as an expert, a thought leader, even for my editors, my journalists, and my fellow publicists. And more importantly, y'all go ahead and cop the Intro into Fashion PR workbook. Yes, this is the workbook that I created, I want to say about a year and a half ago. It's available digitally. I'm trying to figure out how to get it to y'all cute like this, all cute and bounded, for my girlies and guys that like a physical workbook to write in. But in the meantime, it's available digitally for y'all that are ready for fashion PR but really just need a starting point. This workbook is that starting point, and it's only $24.90. I ain't busting heads like some of these people out here, okay? So go ahead and cop this. But in the meantime, like I said, let me know what questions y'all have in the comments, and I will be back soon with some more fashion PR content. Bye. Love y'all.